Hi, folks. So I'm totally being gimmicky here. I'm inside, which means I don't need this in here technically, but I just showed my dad how to put one on. This is an N95 smoke mask, and basically those little dust masks that you see, medical masks and stuff, those don't actually catch smoke particulates. So here on the ground, everybody's using these. The air quality out there is just atrocious. It's even worse up in Chico. I was there yesterday, heading back today, and basically there's like visible ash, just kind of like particulates all over the air, and it's pretty bad. It just settles everywhere. It gets in your lungs. It can get into your blood, is what they're saying. So all the official health advisories all say, don't go outside. It's dangerous out there. There's my dad. He's got his mask on. So a town just burnt down. So there's a lot of people who are stuck outside. There's tents going up in the parking lot of a Walmart. We have the town, that just burnt down. It had a population of about 30,000 people. The next door town, which is actually a city, has a population of 80,000. That's Chico. They had a 1% housing vacancy rate until Paradise burned down. And now there's no housing stock and tons of people who need housing. And so, we're trying to organize donations. There's a lot of physical donations coming in. People don't have a lot of use for those. They don't have anywhere to put them. We need housing, and the other thing we need is medical supplies. Everything that people depended on, insulin, inhalers, CPAP machines, whatever, it all burnt down. This was the fastest evacuation that the state of California has ever had to do. This is the most destructive fire in recorded history. I don't know how much of this information has actually made it to other parts of the world, which is why I wanted to just kind of check in here and let people know. But if you want to send me questions or whatever, I'm around. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between Chico and Davis for the next few days. Ironically, I just got fired. So that means I've got a lot of spare time. And so that, ultimately, there's a lot happening on the ground. My kind of takeaway, first of all, I'm really angry. I'm just kind of going about my business, trying to help out as much as I can. I'm not one of the ones who's been hit. Here I am in this comfortable little house in Davis. I'm okay, but our community is not okay. We're not okay at all. People, the official death toll is 50, thereabouts. That's the bodies that they've found. They haven't, people were having to flee their cars and run. There's stories of people hiding out in a pool overnight. There's stories of people like running into a river and basically taking cover in the water while the flames go over their heads. Just harrowing stuff. And that's what everyone's recovering from. There's a need on the ground for services and housing is what's most needed. There's going to be a second wave of need, and what we're all a little bit afraid of is that a month from now, there's nothing for people to return to. The houses are gone. I don't know if you've seen the footage, but there's nothing left. So the rest of the world will have forgotten about us. There will be a new disaster, et cetera, but the town is gone. So at that point, we're going to need a second wave of contributions and help. We need to get people into homes, and then we're going to need to start helping them rebuild things. At this stage, we're already getting donations for like toaster ovens and stuff. People are thinking in terms of, hey, if I lost my house, what supplies would I need? But if you don't have a house, you have nowhere to put those things. So while the thought and the sentiment is lovely, it isn't time yet. um, and so what all this means is that basically we got to start with the really urgent stuff, the medical care. And ultimately, we're scared out here because this is going to become our new normal. Every year we have the worst fires we've ever seen, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. And this one, there was no fire at 5 a.m. At 6:30, they first announced the fire. By like 12, the entire town was burning, and everybody was evacuating, and people were dying. So it's terrifying. And we're just trying to do what we can. And yeah, if you don't live in the area, the best thing you can do is to find people. You know, everybody's setting up their GoFundMe's, etc., for their own little families, and just like find a family, sponsor a family, help that family get back on their feet. Ultimately, we're only going to survive this mess if we re-find our sense of solidarity. I think it's instinctive to humans that in times like this, we want to help, we want to be there for each other. Out here, everybody knows, you know, if their house wasn't one of the ones that burnt down, it might be next time. Or, you know, it might have been in the past. Like, a lot of us have been through this already, and it's just going to keep happening. So we're just trying to show up for each other. And it's dark and scary times for us out here in California. I see a lot of my friends are tuning in, which is pretty cool. If anyone wants to ask anything in particular, just like bop it in the notes there. I'm going to head up to Chico, to the front lines probably in the next half hour or so. So basically what we're doing now is trying to get support to the families who are in the parking lots. I mean, they just drove out of town, and now they're all just kind of sitting there. They have nothing to do. They have nowhere to go. There's tents going up in the parking lots. And there's collection sites around. You know, we got clothes, we got coats. I said before, I'll say it again, we need medical supplies. We need, you know, CPAP machines, inhalers, insulin, whatever things, you know, that keep people alive. This evacuation happened within seconds. Nobody had any time to grab anything at all. And so, yeah, basically, get the word out. If you have the ability and you're far away, find a family from paradise and adopt them. You know, help them get some supplies. I know I'm repeating myself, but I've said this before, I'll say it again. Our survival out here, I think, will really depend on whether or not we figure out how to show up for each other, and how to really mobilize quickly and effectively in order to save each other's lives. Here in Davis, everyone's being told, stay inside, don't go outside. People who just lost their homes in Paradise, the air quality is worse in Chico than it is here. There's particulates in the air, and they can't go inside. They have no inside to go to. They're setting up tents outside. You know, here we're being told don't go outside, and there they can't even go inside. So it's bleak. It's very bleak. Meanwhile, down in Malibu, there was another fire. I don't know how many of you know this, but that fire started on a radioactive site. There's radioactive ash coming off of the Woolsey fire. That is scary. The flip side being that actually predominantly hit a very wealthy community in Malibu. The average house value was about $3 million. And so, you know, we're hearing stories from celebrities who've lost their homes. They're all okay. They're all in hotels, etc. I don't know if there were poorer community enclaves that were also hit by that. If there are, we need to find them. They're going to be the people who need help, and they're going to be the people who get ignored. Mark my words on that. That's how this is working out. Apparently, Kim Kardashian got to pay for a private fire service to go and protect her house specifically, and that just infuriates me. There should not be situations where we're calling on private fire squads. You know, everybody is at risk here, and we need to prioritize saving lives over saving property. And the fact that that even needs to be said is just infuriating. So like I said, I'm very, very angry. This is why. You know, we are heading into a world where this is going to become more and more commonplace. I want to be clear, these fires were not caused by heat. These fires were caused by drought. We had the worst fire conditions, and we knew it was coming. This Thursday, we had high winds, we had very dry land, and we knew it was going to be a bad fire day. And, you know, I was working at that point in the safety services office at the UC Davis campus. And we were saying, well, we're going to have to be careful. A lot of fires started that day. We didn't know where they would be, so we couldn't take, you know, preemptive actions. When there's a hurricane coming, you know where it's going to hit. And that doesn't mean that it's not terrible and that it can't catch you off guard. But usually you have a little more time to evacuate. This time we knew there were fires coming, but we didn't have any idea where they would start. And so all of a sudden, oh, it's in this town. Oh, by the way, the town's gone. Like a few hours later. Sheesh. What do we even do to that? We're all sitting ducks here because there's no defensible position. You can't just go where there aren't fires. There's a map circulating of California and where there have been fires this year, and it's basically everywhere. There have been fires everywhere. And so we just, I mean, we just need to get used to this and be ready for each other and to help out. And I mean, I don't really have an uplifting message here. It's really scary. We all need to have each other's backs. If we don't have each other's backs, we're all going to die. It's that simple. It's apocalyptic out there. I'm going to show for the people who just tuned in. This is an N45 smoke mask. Sorry, N95. These are the only ones, or the minimum level that they're accepting for us to use. We're required basically to wear one of these every time we go outside. And they're, you know, luckily they're not too difficult to get. But it's really scary. So we're going to try and band together and get our communities together and just, you know, show up for each other. Our society that we live in currently, basically solidarity was driven out of our social conscience. Over the past few decades, it became like this kind of thing where self-sufficiency is good. There's no such thing as self-sufficiency when any particular day an entire community could get wiped out by a fire. There's no such thing as self-sufficiency in that context, because you could work your entire life and build up a little farm and be living off of that farm, and boom, oops, there was a fire. Your farm is gone. Now what? Now, you know, you need the community to help you. That's why we have a community. We're humans. Humans are supposed to be community creatures. We're supposed to take care of each other. And to a certain extent, we've lost sight of that. And our ability to survive ultimately will depend on whether or not we can remember who we are and what we can do for each other. We have to show up, and we have to listen, and we have to be there for the people who've just lost everything. And that means sitting with them and hearing their pain and being there with them in their pain, and also letting them know, you know, yes, they've lost everything, but they haven't lost humans. You know, we're here, and we're here to help them through this. And we got to show that in our actions. We got to get, you know, if you're nearby, if you've got space in your home, share it, please. If you are far away, the best thing that you can do is get, you know, cash donations out to the sites. There are ordinary people setting up fundraisers for their own families and such. I can share some of those. I've been sharing a lot of information about the fires. And, you know, it's rough, but we're going to keep going. That's all we can do. And, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I think if I kept talking any longer, I would just be repeating things that I've said twice already. So, yeah, I'll be heading out to Chico in the next half hour or so again. And we'll probably do a video from up there and show what it actually looks like. It's scary. It's like dark. You can look straight at the sun. It looks like a little orb in the sky, like a little ruby. It's very pretty. But okay, well, thank you all. Yeah, take care of yourselves out there.